in an oversaturated market that's highly government regulated, they should at least give this industry some slack on the taxes.
What is one thing you'd like to change in this industry if you get the chance?
It's basic business and marketing, good, better, best.
Yeah. The reason this industry is so heavily regulated, and it's my opinion solely, so I think they have to make it palatable to the larger audience. That I was excited for this one, to be honest, because we are from the same industry.
Yeah.
I mean, you supply us with the product that we retail, so I thought it'll be interesting conversation to have with you.
Totally, man.
How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Can't complain at all. I mean, we had some issues on the weekend. Our furnace went. Yeah, and we have a 2.5-year-old daughter at home, so that was very stressful. But we're good to go. Got a new furnace installed. So,
Were you able to get a new furnace right away, or?
no. So it went on Friday, and we didn't get a new one until Monday. So just
boy.
spent the weekend at hotels and stuff like that.
Hotels?
And, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so it's stressful, but yeah, no, besides that, like everything's good. Healthy and happy and busy, so yeah.
Lovely. I want to ask you this, Tommy. How did you venture into this field and this industry?
Yeah.
If you can give us some backstory
Sure.
and then bring us to the present,
Yeah.
that'd be lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a long story, but I'll try to summarize it as much as I can. But I'm born and raised in the city. I actually just grew up on Green Avenue, a couple streets over
Okay.
from the shop
So you
here.
must be very familiar to the area, eh?
Very familiar, yeah. I grew up in a cannabis-friendly household.
Okay.
My dad grew cannabis for a living. That's how he supported us until he got caught. So
Okay.
yeah, always kind of grew up in a cannabis-friendly household. Growing up as a teenager and in high school, I was never big into alcohol. Cannabis was always my chosen party substance. I was never a big drinker, but I was always pro cannabis for many reasons, medicinal wise, but also health wise. The culture around it as well too, with music and food and the type of people surrounding it. So I was always interested in it. Definitely had some passion for cannabis. I sold it on the black market as well for many years.
I think everyone at some point has done it in high school or
everybody has. Yeah, so not a big secret there, but I wanted to kind of change up my life path a little bit. Didn't want to follow the same footsteps as my dad, so I ended up going to university and getting a business degree.
Interesting.
And from there I actually started my career in the car industry. So I was selling cars for a living. This was in my early 20s.
How long you did that for?
I did it for I was in that industry for about 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years. Yeah. So I started when I was 21, 22, selling cars. I got moved up to sales manager within a year. So I was managing the dealership for a big company here in Manitoba. I would also acquire inventory. I was in charge of marketing all the vehicles, pricing, everything to do with the inventory, and then dealing with customers and stuff like that as well too. So, during 2015, 2016, there was rumblings about cannabis becoming legalized in Canada, and the States was starting to legalize it in some states. Which got me pretty excited. To be honest, I was never really a car guy. I was never a car enthusiast.
No.
But I liked business. I liked sales and people. And I love cannabis. So
during those 8 years, were you involved in cannabis at all or no?
No, not at all, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So during that time, like I stepped away from being involved with cannabis, like with my dad and his partners. I stepped away from that, and I just wanted to kind of have a clean lifestyle. Like I said, kind of make sure I was educated properly and had the right experience and stuff like that, and just wanted a regular, normal life, as you'd call in Canada. But when they started talking about legalizing cannabis, I thought, man, this is awesome for a million different reasons. Not only for the fact that it shouldn't be a criminal substance. You should be allowed to consume cannabis and not be judged as a criminal by any means. There's never been a time in my life where I've smoked a joint and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go rob somebody."
No, never.
Never. Like
And
it's
it's
yeah,
in fact, to add on to that,
yeah,
I'd say with the alcohol, it's much more worse. Alcohol makes you do things that
yeah,
you would never do
yeah,
sober, whereas cannabis would mellow you down. In my personal experience, I'd say.
absolutely.
So, 2016, there's rumors that it'll get legalized and all that.
Yeah.
I came to Vancouver in 2017, I believe.
Oh
And
yeah, nice.
and at that point, we did have some stores around, and
Yeah,
most of them were like operating in a gray area.
yeah,
You know how mushroom stores are
yeah,
today, so
yeah,
similar to that. And
yeah,
that's what my first experience was with cannabis. At
yeah,
that time, they didn't have this packaging that we have today.
yeah, exactly.
No tubes, nothing. So
Yeah.
it was in a big jar, and I'm looking at this green thing, and
Mhm.
I've never seen it before. It was my first experience. Like, what is this? Like, and people are buying, spending, giving money for this, and a good amount. And at that point, it was selling for quite a price. Like 1 gram
Yeah.
was 15, 20,
You got it.
25
Yeah,
maybe. I'm not sure though. So,
Yeah.
how did you get into the industry then? Like,
Yeah.
did you reach out to
Mhm.
people who were active and?
So it's a good question, and to be honest, I have some retail experience working in the car industry, but honestly, no, it's just like tossing in my resume with some companies. There's a company, they're not really around anymore, but the company was called Bazam. So
Bazam.
yeah, Bazam. So they have a few brands. They were very popular a few years ago. But the manager, the hiring manager at that time, gave me a shot. He interviewed me. We got along really well, and he thought it was a good fit. So he gave me the opportunity to be their sales rep in Manitoba. It was very eye opening immediately.
How so?
So kind of what you were explaining about pre-legalization. So I've been kind of consuming cannabis since I was a teenager. Not proud of it, but like it is what it is. But like before legalization, it was a quarter for $60.
Mm-hmm.
Eighths for $30, and there was never mention of THC.
That's right.
Zero. I
Okay.
didn't even know what THC was. Most people didn't know what THC was. I knew it was a compound in cannabis that was psychoactive and got you high, and that's where kind of the effects came from. Terpenes, never heard of them. I could tell you what concentrates were and live resins and rosins and dabs and shatter and all that stuff, but the terminology in the recreational market is completely different than what it used to be. It wasn't all about price and THC. It was all about quality, strain specifics. Like I remember back in the day getting a hold of White Rhino. I don't know if you know that strain, but it's an older strain. It was very popular, and it just sold by the strain name. That's it.
Okay.
It was I have White Rhino, and people wanted it. I would actually
no mention of THC at all.
Zero.
No
Zero
one cares
THC.
about just White Rhino and it
That's it.
sells.
Yeah, and when I used to buy it, the product, I didn't grow it, but I used to work for somebody. And whenever I would buy the product from them, the price didn't dictate based off of THC. It was based off of quality and genetics, and that's it. Nowadays, it's the complete opposite. So you could have super unique genetics, but if the THC is 24%, nobody wants it.
It's not flying. No.
Customers don't want it, and then the big chains, like the buyers and stuff, they don't want it either. So, like I mentioned to you, getting into this recreational industry was very eye-opening because it seemed like that's all that people wanted. And it started off at 20% THC. That was high.
That was high for a lot of people.
Yeah.
In 2017, 18, eh?
Yeah. I didn't get into the industry until 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't jump right in. And I'll maybe explain to you my experience as a consumer after this. But so I jumped in about 2019. I remember we sold ounces. They were very popular. The brand Tabletop, if you're familiar with it, they were like $70 ounces to retailer. THC was usually like high teens to low 20s. And I remember a customer, like a retailer, getting upset with me because they bought an ounce and it came in at 19%.
19%.
Yeah. So nowadays it
Now
has to be 30.
Nowadays, you give 19% to someone, he'll be furious, man.
Yeah.
He'll be like, "What did you just give me?
Yeah.
You're scamming me and all that."
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, people are, I think, on the higher bracket of 30%. If it's under 30, it's not strong. But
Yeah.
people don't understand these numbers aren't as accurate as, you know, and sometimes the 24% would give you much better effect. And
Yeah.
cannabis is subjective, right? It affects-
Totally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think people need to wrap their head around this fact that the number itself is not the precursor or is not the only thing that can tell you,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
how good it is. So
Yeah. So maybe I'll explain to you my experience as a consumer, and then we could kind of segue into the labels and the THC and all that kind of jazz. So I remember day one of legalization, I waited in line at Tokyo Smoke on Osborne for like 3 hours.
that was the first store in Winnipeg.
Yeah, that was. I think there was like Tokyo Smokes were, I believe, the first.
Mm-hmm.
There was a few of them, but the closest one to me was the Osborne location.
And how big was the lineup?
The lineup was huge.
Yeah?
It was crazy. Everyone was lined up outside. Like I said, it took like 2 or 3 hours to get in there. And again, like coming from my past experience, it was just, what's your strains? What's the price? Going into Tokyo Smoke, they were all made up strain names.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of any of these strains in my life. And no one has, because they're all made up.
Confectionery.
Like the genetics weren't from the legacy market. So they're all new genetics from the recreational market, as far as I know. And the strains, nobody knew what they were called. Like there was a strain called Donegal. Like, what is Donegal? Like, there's the experience was just a lot different than what most people prior to legalization had. So walking in there, it was, here's the price. You can't see the weed. That was the biggest thing, was you can't see the product I'm buying. And I remember the salesperson telling me, you have to trust us. Like, well, what if there's a bunch of shake or like stems or popcorn nugs in this little plastic jar that I'm buying from you guys? You have to trust me. It's good weed, etc.
And I can't think of any other industry where you buy a product but you don't know what you're buying into. Name one if you know, right? It's just cannabis, which is built in a way that it has to be opaque packaging and shit like that. So.
Yeah. The regulations are not good for any business, in my opinion. The only thing that they are good for is the government, and that's it.
It robs us of the free market, you know. If it's regulated to the T, I don't know how you can say it's a free market anymore then.
Yeah, no, totally, man. And a lot of people weren't pro legalization, especially older legacy guys, but I'm for sure pro legalization on cannabis, in my opinion. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I also grew up around the time where there wasn't vape pens. Like I've been suspended from school from smelling like weed, even though I passed with extra credits and got into university early.
So you were good with studies and everything?
Yeah, totally, man.
It never hampered your studies?
Never.
Okay.
No, never hampered my studies. I was always playing sports on the sports teams.
When did these 510 cards and vapes came into the picture?
Legalization.
After the okay.
Yeah. So they called it 2.0. So 2.0 was they started introducing concentrates and gummies and all that kind of stuff into the recreational market. And when the consumer started hearing about the 510 carts, they just called them dab pens, because that's what they used to be called back in the day. Were dab pens.
Okay.
Sometimes if you knew like a good hookup, you would be able to buy straight up a dab pen from somebody, but they weren't that popular. Mm-hmm. Or you would be able to like go to like a head shop like The Joint and buy typically like a Yocan that you could put like a dab in there. But that was it. Like
a vaporizer, you mean? Okay.
Just like a vaporizer,
Okay.
But yeah, dab pens or 510s weren't a thing at all. So 510s entered the market. People started getting interested in them. They got really, really popular. But I think that kind of started a little bit of an issue with what we're kind of talking about with like THC just the ignorance of consumers and retailers. No offense, you're a retailer, but
Yeah.
it's just the uneducation and also just the transparency of the actual product. So most 510 carts that are being sold recreationally are distillate carts. But the majority of how they're being marketed it's just marketing at the end of the day. You know, and I think a lot of that has skewed people's decision makings when they're buying cannabis, but also the trust with the retailer and the supplier, because you really don't know what you're getting.
That's true.
You really never know what you're getting. And it's subtle. Like for example, like I have family members who love smoking them because you smell like,
Fruity,
fruit or
yeah.
like cotton candy or whatever the case is.
And
but
for a lot of people, I think the smell of the cannabis itself is very obnoxious, So,
absolutely, man.
And if a product can solve that problem, you'll get much more people
Yes.
getting onto the cannabis scene, So
Totally. Yeah.
I think 510 has done what beer has done to liquor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how you tell me that 510 were available before legalization, but it became a big hit after because of convenience. It was available, or what?
Yeah, so they weren't as easy to purchase, the dab pens, before legalization. There just wasn't a lot out there.
I see.
And they were pretty expensive, to be honest. Like they're cheaper now. But yeah, like they just weren't that popular.
And it was all part of extracts 2.0.
Yeah. So it was all extracts prior to legalization, shatter, resin, and rosin. But again, there was zero talk of THC. So a product like rosin was probably easier to sell than it is nowadays, because nowadays, first of all, taxation on concentrates is ridiculously high for the supplier. It's ridiculous, man. Yeah, but we get into that. And then also, everyone just wants lowest price, highest THC. Unfortunately, rosin is like 60 to 70% THC, and the price point is almost double than a gram of shatter. So how is a customer going to buy it when all they know is THC and price?
THC 60, 70% doesn't cut it.
It doesn't cut it. It's got to be 99 or 90, whatever.
And it takes more processing to make rosins, I believe.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways you can make rosin. The highest quality would typically be like a cold cured like hash rosin or a cold cured rosin, which is from flash frozen fresh cannabis. So
flash frozen fresh cannabis.
Yeah.
What is that?
So as soon as you harvest the plant, like as soon as you chop it down, you just freeze it. Yeah. Yeah.
So no drying, nothing,
no,
eh?
Nothing. Yeah.
So as soon as the plant's chopped, it's put into the freezers?
Yeah. You freeze the plant. So what that does is, think about, cold cured meats. I guess is a good example.
Vegetarian, so
yeah. But
I could relate, but okay, that makes sense.
When you it preserves the flavor, it preserves the potency, and it preserves everything that it came from, like the actual plant.
I see.
And then you just press it with zero solvents, and
so no BHO, nothing, none of those. Okay.
Yeah, nothing. You just press it, and you got real good quality, tasty rosin.
And when it's pressed, it comes into this gooey form already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and that's it. Like it's pretty straightforward. Yeah. So whereas like resins, you're using solvents for resins, so the process is a bit cheaper, and then distillate and like diamonds and stuff like that would be like the cheapest form of a concentrate, the lowest cost to make, the lowest price to consumer, and then the highest THC.
Is distillate.
Yeah.
Distillate and shatter same thing, or?
No, not typically. Very similar.
Okay.
But in terms of like quality, they'd be right around the same. The biggest difference is distillate. They add botanical terpenes to give it the flavoring. Because without those botanical terpenes, it just tastes like kind of bland, just THC. That's it. So they add flavoring compounds to it to give it that flavor and make it so it doesn't smell like weed.
I recently did get a chance to, have a palette of botanical terps. I saw that,
Yeah.
how they come and it's all labeled and everything.
Yeah.
At Bioseason, I was at
Oh
Bioseason.
yeah, cool.
And I was surprised and amazed at the same time. Like, they've been able to make these fragrances or these botanical terps, and whatever's mentioned on the label, it does smell exactly the same if it says vanilla.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so that's what's added to the to the shatter and
Just distillate. Shatter typically doesn't have any
No.
of those added flavors, but
so when it
You
says
just- yeah.
cactus breath or something like that, what does there's no botanical terps then?
so like for example, in a gram of shatter, if it
Mhm.
says the strain is cactus breath, yeah, that's a bit of a rabbit hole we could go down, but so how do I explain this? I mean, strain specifics, like for example, when you're making distillate, the quality of the plant, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the quality of the plant is. It could be very, very low quality, or it could be very, very high quality cannabis, and the potency is the exact same, because you're just stripping THC off of the plant. So it doesn't matter if it's craft cannabis, or if it was just kind of mass produced or greenhouse or outdoor cannabis. So that's why the input cost for distillate and concentrates like shatter are so low. No one's really going to be purchasing high quality input flower for distillate and shatters, because at the end of the day, the output, like the actual finished product, will be the exact same. So to kind of touch on the strain specific stuff, it's a bit misleading, to be honest, unless you're talking about like a resin or a rosin, because you're actually taking everything from that specific plant or that specific genetics and making it into a concentrate. With shatter, I think you could, you could call it whatever the specific strain is that came from that exact plant. I don't fully believe it. I don't know how transparent that is and like to the consumer. But like, for example, if you're making distillate, a big company is just going to choose the lowest cost input flower. It could be a mixture of a million different plants, and they'll call it, white rhino shatter.
I see.
But it's not. It's literally like ground beef at the store. It's just 10 million cows.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me one thing, brother. So tell me, they take the lowest quality product
Yeah.
and they strip out everything, keep
Yeah.
the THC.
Yeah.
And how are they? I get it. Okay, let's say it's 19% flower, right? How are they able to bump it up to 90%? Then I mean, I
Yep.
get it. It's a concentrate, so
Yep.
they squeeze everything out.
Yeah.
It's just the THC left
Yeah.
and 90%.
Hmm.
So they mix up everything in between, like.
So you're just isolating THC from the plant.
Mm.
So when you isolate all the THC, the whatever's left over is 100% THC. So that's what the isolated product would be, is just pure THC. So it doesn't matter if the plant tested at 19%. If you're stripping only THC from the plant, you're left with 100% THC, and that's it. Then they'll add botanical terpenes to it. And when you add something that isn't THC, it's now diluting the concentrate,
Concentration.
which will bring it down in THC percentage. So that's why you'll see like, there's some vape carts out there that are like 99%
Yeah.
THC distillate vape carts, but there's very, very subtle flavor
Subtle flavor.
because they barely added botanical terpenes to it. So it could stay at the highest THC percentage, but the flavor's not that good. Like, for example, the company I used to work for, we had some of the best flavored vapes on the market. They were all like 80 to 86% THC. They tasted amazing because it had a great ratio of botanical terpenes to distillate. But nowadays, everyone just wants 96%.
96.
So the flavor isn't the best, if that makes sense.
The
more-
that does make
The
sense.
more
so,
botanical terpenes you add to the
so it's
distillate, the-
counterintuitive in a sense,
is.
eh?
Yes, it
so you have this pure 100% thing,
Uh-huh.
let's say,
Mhm.
and then you add something to it, let's say botanical terps to add flavor, and it reduces it down. So
Yeah.
suppliers at this point, or the manufacturers at this point, have to choose what they want to cater to, basically.
Yeah,
so,
you got it. Mhm.
right? Either they want to go a route where they want cannabis enthusiasts who want flavored cannabis, like flavor of cannabis in their carts, or these confectionery flavors?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. So it's tricky. And like I mentioned with the whole THC thing, that's what consumers want at the end of the day. So as a big company, you know, like you're a national retailer,
Yeah.
you're obviously just going to pick the products that sell the best, and that's distillate vape carts.
Do you think these two things don't get well along? I genuinely believe healthcare and corporation doesn't go well along.
No, not at all.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think that is similar with cannabis industry? Let's say a corporation where their sole goal is to make profit,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And then the craftness of cannabis gets kicked out,
Yeah.
and it's what can we mass produce, what
Yeah.
can be cheapest to produce. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, um, the way that I think about it is retail is retail. It doesn't matter what industry that you're in. If it's grocery, cannabis, liquor, you know, convenience stores, whatever. You have to have a good selection of products for everybody, whether that be value. So, you know, let's say like a no-name brand,
Mass produced.
or,
Yeah.
you know, a middle brand. So something that typically is your regular average kind of family household brands. And then you have more premium brands, which maybe are going to be geared more towards like, you know, health enthusiasts, or people who are a little bit more purists in what they're
Organic and
consuming.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, organic and stuff like that, right? And
That
I
does
think
make
it's
sense.
very similar in every industry. Like you go to, you know, for example, like Save On Foods or Whole Foods. I know we don't have a Whole Foods here, but, you know, in BC, they're big. And you guys are from BC, so you guys understand that, like, there's different types of customers out there.
And the organic culture over there is much more big,
Yeah.
or let's say, yeah,
Same with cannabis. Like cannabis is huge out there, especially in the craft world. Is big in BC. So you just need to make sure you have products for everybody. Do I think that a retailer should carry 100% craft cannabis? No,
no,
because they're not gonna.
that'll be
succeed.
suicidal, no?
Yeah, they will not succeed. But the problem with the cannabis industry over the last few years is prices just keep going down, while inflation keeps going up.
Up. What do you
So-
think? How will this play out?
So, I mean, the reasoning behind all of this is because of oversaturation, mainly on the supplier side of things. So
On the supplier side of things,
yes,
interesting.
yeah. So the growers, right? Like
Mhm.
that's who I would consider as like a supplier.
Yeah.
You know, there's different, I guess, opinions or perspectives on who is a supplier, but it could be a grower. It could just be someone who does like co-packing.
Mhm.
It could be someone who literally just distributes. Like those are all suppliers. But because there's mass production happening and overproduction of cannabis, so there's a huge supply of cannabis in Canada.
And there's not enough demand.
There's
you
not
think?
enough demand. Yeah, that's it. It's just basic.
You know, as a supplier or as a manufacturer, you would think there's oversaturation of supply and manufacturing. As a retailer, we think there's oversaturation of retail.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Right. At this point, we discuss at some point that should we open another store? If we decide upon opening another store, where should it be? I mean, it's
Yeah.
already so crowded.
Yeah.
There's competition everywhere. There's
Yeah.
more stores than Tim Hortons at this point.
Yeah.
So how do you think this will play out? I mean, in the long run, in the
Yeah.
next 2 years, 3 years down the line?
I mean, at the end of the day, people love cannabis, and I'm pretty sure the younger generations are consuming more cannabis than alcohol. So, like, that's a great sign for not only like this industry, but like the health of the younger people. So it's a positive thing. Yeah, I guess like my personal opinion about it all, like I'm not an economist or I don't own a retailer
Yeah.
store
Mhm.
or anything like that, but is at the end of the day, not a lot of people are making money. Even the big chains are not making money. So, and this is a for-profit industry. This isn't a non-for-profit industry. So if people aren't making money, they're going to have to shut their doors. And the more and more people who shut their doors, both suppliers and retailers, just gives more opportunity for prices to go up. You know, for example, if you own the majority of the retailers in a market, that means you have the biggest control over pricing and products, especially if you own other channels in an industry like distribution, etc. So, what are my thoughts of the future of this industry? I think lots of people will probably go to business. Lots of suppliers will go to business. We're already seeing it. There's obviously international. I'm not sure if you know much about international, but there's international demand for cannabis from Canada. There's also rumblings about the States, which would, in my opinion, would not be good for Canada.
No?
No, because the problem is
So if
it's the same issue we're having here. So like for example, there might be some good export opportunity because of our dollar. Like if you export something to the States right now, Canadians are making lots of money because of the exchange. But it's going to be the same thing that happened in Canada, oversaturation. You're going to get everybody say, wow, cannabis is legal in the States. Let's open up a business. You're going to get foreign business coming in just like we have in Canada, and it's going to get oversaturated, and the same issue is going to happen in the States. There's already those issues happening in the states that have it legal, where there's oversaturation. THC and price, the same thing is happening in the States as well. So if it becomes legal federally in the States, I don't think it would be good for Canadians at all. Yeah.
And how likely do you think it'll happen in the next 2 years?
I don't think it's going to happen.
Federally?
No, it's not going to happen.
No,
No, I
me
don't think
neither.
so.
I'm
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
same point of view
Yeah.
that they won't be able to do it federally. The states can do whatever they want individually,
yeah.
but at the same time, you know what? My concern is that over the years, I've been in this industry for 2 years, so
Yeah.
it's very little time. But the trend that I see is prices are going down crazily.
Yeah.
There's not the demand is not keeping up with the supply.
Yeah.
Right, those two
Yeah.
factors that leads to one thing: price drops, as we have seen already. With price dropping, margin cuts down, and it's sooner or later doors will shut down.
Yeah.
Right. In my opinion, how this will play out, we'll have to expand our offerings.
Yes.
What I mean by that is we'll have to turn into a convenience store.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the last thing I want a dispensary to be dispensary. I want convenience stores to be
Yeah.
convenience stores.
Yeah.
What do you think the regulation, do you think it can help in any way? Like put a
Yeah.
cap or
Yeah.
some...
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like they care too much. The regulators at all. There's in the other markets, like in other provinces, there's a lot more politics involved. There's I'm not sure if you know much about like BC and Alberta, but there's more of like a board that you need to essentially like in Ontario and Alberta specifically. There's like boards that you need to present your company and your products to. They do things like criminal record checks. And they literally just shop for THC and price. Like that's it. Like in Ontario, there's tons of data that they call it the OCS, the Ontario Cannabis Store, that they provide to retailers and suppliers to help them make better business decisions. And the data that they provide, it's not rocket science. It's literally the higher the THC,
the more it
sells. So when you get that information as a supplier or a grower, you're just going to choose genetics that have the highest potency. Doesn't matter about the quality.
Okay.
You're going to choose labs that test the highest, and some other, conspiracy theories that some might have about labels and how they get to those numbers. So it just it's a recipe for disaster because instead of figuring out ways to better your business with like operations or like yield, for example, like yield is big with growing and and all that stuff. It's just shopping for how do we get our products to the highest THC, and we see it all the time. Like our highest moving products are our highest
THC basically. Same with retail. If something is mentioned at 30%, it flies. 20% stays on the shelf for longer. So tell me one thing. I came across this term, and I'm not sure what it means. I was at this convention or exhibition, biomass production, or what is it?
Biomass.
Biomass. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just full transparency. So the company I work for, we do grow cannabis. We grow premium craft cannabis, but we also have brands that we source cannabis for.
Okay.
So we don't grow that cannabis. I purchase it myself personally. I deal with people every single day, if it's brokers or some direct suppliers and stuff like that. But there's lots of biomass out there. And what biomass, I'll just like...
for a layman to understand, you know?
It is just like kind of, it's a byproduct essentially. So it's almost like waste that you could use for products like distillate.
Oh.
Remember I was mentioning to you that it doesn't matter what the quality of the input flower is for certain products. Lots of people will use biomass. So, you know, like even on LinkedIn, for example, you could hop on LinkedIn. There'll be people who work for companies that make concentrates looking for biomass. And they're looking for biomass because it's dirt cheap. And the product that they make from it doesn't matter if it's high quality or low quality.
It'll be turned into something else.
It'll be turned into something else, yeah. If that's a resin or distillate or shatter or diamonds, they just use biomass for that. You can also use biomass for pre-rolls because you don't see the weed inside of a pre-roll. So people use biomass for pre-rolls. You could use biomass for infused pre-rolls as well. There's lots of different reasons for people purchasing biomass. But yeah, that would essentially
that's the meaning, right?
Yeah. And biomass could be things like old product. You know,
that counts too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Biomass could be old cannabis products that just weren't able to sell. It could be trim from growing. So after you trim the plant, there's lots of trim left over. So that's technically biomass. And yeah, and some companies they'll have like mixtures of pre-milled material that's biomass, and yeah, it's dirt cheap.
Interesting.
So yeah.
Tell me, we'll have to take a small break.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. He would smoke a joint, and I would smoke a joint with him. Then we would watch a movie, watch the hockey game, you know. But if he was drinking or doing drugs, like.
And was it common with you smoking weed with your dad?
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm not proud of it, but like.
That's very uncommon in our household.
Yeah, of course. It's very uncommon in North America. It's not common here. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so.
And did that help your relationship with your dad in any sense or no?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah?
For sure it did. I mean.
And we're back now.
Cool, yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it did help the relationship out a lot. But, like, for example, I have a 2-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably going to have questions about cannabis when she's older.
True.
But she, you know, ever since she's existed on this planet, cannabis has been legal.
In this part of the world, yeah.
Yeah, this part of the world, yeah. So, I mean, like, and I've had people ask me, like, what are you going to explain to your daughter when she's older what you do for work? And
I'm interested to know.
Yeah, like
what will you say?
I sell weed for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happens if I sold, if I owned like a beer store, or if I was a liquor rep and I had beer and liquor all around the house? It's the same thing.
That's right.
If anything, it's less risky, as we talked about. Like, it's less harmful to your health.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, I don't eat edibles, so there's no edibles in my house.
Okay.
There's lots of weed, tons of weed. What happens if she finds a bag of weed? Is she gonna eat it? No. And what if she eat it? Nothing would happen. Is she gonna roll it up into a joint? Probably not.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Maybe when she's 15
or
16 and she does have some sense of what this is.
Yeah.
So it's same with me, my friend. When we started these stores, right? I had this big question in my back of the mind that when my relatives in India will ask what you do, or like how would they respond to this? Because it's a big taboo in India still, right?
Totally. Yeah, it is for sure, especially everywhere in the States too. It's still a big taboo.
And
so how do you explain it? Yeah, like
how do I explain it? Yeah. So okay, I'll tell you what I do. Okay, for the first few months,
Yeah.
I did not disclose that what I exactly do.
Yeah.
All right. And then when I had the courage to do so, what I did was I was blunt about it. Okay, it's a cannabis store. Cannabis means this. I explained it. It's not that it is a taboo. Don't get me wrong, but it's still widely used.
Yeah, for sure it is.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you something about my culture too. It's called. There's this event, Shivratri. It means night of a lord whose name is Shiva. Right. I think he gets married that night or something. So what happens? Can you Google it up? So something along those lines. And people
Yeah.
would consume a lot of cannabis, not in smoking form, some in smoking form, but 80 to 90% what I've seen, they make a drink out of it.
Oh yeah.
Right? And
Gotcha.
everywhere you'll see it in public, like people are high. You can sense it. So in that sense, it's very common. You'll find it everywhere. But at the same time, from business point of view, I come from a very conservative family.
Yeah.
And a family, I mean, my religion doesn't allow for any sort of
Yes.
vices at
Yeah.
all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And when
Yeah.
so this was tricky, mate. But I did convince my parents at one point. Okay, this is what I do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
It is
So
what it is. Yeah,
you'll have to make peace
exactly.
with yourself at
You
this
do.
point.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. I mean, yeah, I've always wondered, especially with like religion tied in with cannabis.
So this is
What
what
are
I
the
was
thoughts and
talking about.
experience
It's
about
these are one of the biggest lords in Hindu culture.
Mhm.
It's called Shivaratri, which means divine union of Shiva and Parvati. So they got married that night, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
And a lot of cannabis consumption happens that night.
That's cool. I like that.
It's interesting. It's
I want to
different.
go
yeah.
to yeah. That's it. Yeah. But nobody smokes, right? It's all just like consuming.
People do smoke,
Yeah.
but it's very privately. I'd
Yeah,
say, like
totally.
not public. Publicly, they'll make a drink out of it.
Yeah.
Like they'll have cannabis leaves. They'll crush it, put it in a milk or something. I'm not sure how this drink works. I mean,
Do you know if it's hemp or is it actual like THC cannabis?
it is THC. I've
Yeah,
had it
is it?
once. I've
Oh,
had it
gotcha.
once.
Yeah,
The
you
end,
got high.
and the effects weren't hemp.
Yeah, gotcha.
And you'll find cannabis in India down the street. Like the plants will
Yeah,
grow
the
out
plants.
anywhere.
Yeah,
and then-
exactly.
so it's very readily available. People don't. What do you say? Will accept the fact that they consume, but a lot of people do. And
Do you think lots of people hide it, like their consumption?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
We live in a very tight knit communities in India, right?
Yeah.
Like, so to give you some example, what I do is everybody's business, right? In
Yeah.
society. So
Yeah.
if let's say I did something heinous or something, that can affect my family's reputation,
Yeah.
I'll have to make sure I hide it
Makes
completely.
sense.
So
Yeah.
when I say what I do is everybody's business, is let's say aunt on a street, if I'm smoking, she'll make sure she comes down to my place and tells my mom and dad, and then my mom and dad are disappointed in
Yeah,
me and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it's different, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I feel like it's very similar to a lot of religious communities. I'm not religious at all, but
Atheist,
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like labeling anything,
but okay.
you know, there's certain parts of Manitoba that are super religious, right? So I hear it all the time, especially because they have some cannabis stores there now. That lots of religious folks will come in either after hours. They'll want to meet up with people behind, at the back door. So Joe down the street doesn't see them buying it because they'll tell on them. And so I've heard it before too with some religious groups that, and same thing with alcohol. Like I don't know how it is in India for alcohol or like what the religious
alcohol
look
is still widely accepted, more
It's
than
more
cannabis.
accepted? Yeah,
more
yeah.
than cannabis for sure. Yes.
Yeah, like some of the Mennonites and some of those areas, like they don't accept alcohol into their society at all, but they still drink it after hours in the shadows, and everybody knows. But that's just part of the culture,
That's right.
And cannabis used to be the same thing.
Mm.
Cannabis used to be, I'm pretty sure that guy smokes, and then you find out, and it's like, you smoke? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're hanging out tonight. Like that was the culture. The culture is completely different now, in my opinion. it's like everybody smokes and everyone always has smoked cannabis.
At some point, yeah.
Some point in their life, or they just hit it. Um, yeah. It was funny, like when legalization happened and you find out who smokes weed. That was really
Everyone's
interesting.
coming out now.
Everyone's coming out. It's like, oh no, I grow weed too. It's funny, but I just find it interesting that you know, people like the government and even like consumers and stuff like that, because consumption laws haven't really changed and people are still caught up on the smell and all that kind of stuff. But you know, alcohol and cigarettes are still okay. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I'm not saying don't drink or don't smoke, like people are going to. But why is it that you could smoke a cigarette just outside of a restaurant
And
but
not
then
be judged.
if you smoke a
Yeah.
joint, you'll get pulled over by the cops and get a DUI? Like, that makes zero sense to me.
Even if you're not driving, you'll get a DUI.
No, like, yeah, if you're driving. But you know,
that does make sense to me because you're,
because you're intoxicated. Totally.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that you
yeah,
should
but
be
it's-
driving, like I don't, and nobody should. But it's just the fact that, and I'm more talking about like nowadays, if you've heard of any of those new rules that the police have been putting into place with like testing people.
What is it? Tell me.
So they've just been pulling over people randomly if like they leave a cannabis store, and they'll test them for THC using just like your glands, and you could have THC in your system for up to a month, really. But like, let's say you smoked a joint the night before, and then you went to Puff Paradise to buy some weed, and there was a cop outside, and the cop pulled you over, and they're like, "Do you have cannabis on you?" "Yes, but it's sealed in the back of my trunk." "Okay, we're still going to do a swab, and if they find any THC on you, you could get your license suspended or a DUI, even though you didn't smoke that day." So
So you're telling me now they have a device that can detect
they do.
THC?
They do.
Because before this, they did not.
Like, and again, I don't know how accurate this is, and I haven't experienced it, but they have devices that could check if you have THC in your saliva glands, not in your bloodstream or anything like that, because it could last for a long time. But these devices could actually tell if you've consumed cannabis in a small period of time. But it doesn't make much sense because it's not accurate, especially with when you consumed it. You know, you're allowed to have a couple of beers and
Still drive, yeah.
Still drive. It's just, yeah. It's not helping with the stigma at all. It's not helping with the regulators trying to help the businesses.
I think the reason this industry is so heavily regulated, and it's my opinion solely, so I think they have to make it palatable to the larger audience that, okay, we're getting this legalized, but at the same time, we're doing this
Yeah.
to make sure it doesn't widely spread, or, there's still some stigma around it, like you said. So
No, you're probably right.
I think over the years, it'll mellow down a lot more. It already has mellowed down a lot. So coming back to this thing, Tommy, that on the business side, do you think a supplier or a manufacturer, let's say a microprocessor, he can be a brand of craft cannabis and a mass-produced cannabis at the same time under one brand name?
Under the same brand?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just strictly based off of like what I learned in school and my experience and stuff. Like, there has to be a differentiator amongst your brands.
Makes sense.
They all should have different price points. They all should have different, they should be all different products, and they should all have different quality levels. It's basic business and marketing, good, better, best.
Yeah.
The good, so like the lowest quality, the lowest price should be your highest volume seller at the lowest margin. And then your middle should be, that's the more sustainable product or sustainable brand. So, let's just say average, right? Like, average price point for a 3.5 gram is probably like a middle of the pack, or mids, as you want to call it, product or brand. And then you have your premium craft brands, which are going to be at the highest margin, the lowest volume, the highest quality, but you're just have a smaller target audience for those products.
When I say same brand, I meant same umbrella brand. So let's say if you have one facility, right?
Yep.
And you have one XYZ, let's say Puff Paradise.
Yeah.
right? And you're trying to cater to craft cannabis enthusiasts and at the same time people who value,
Yep.
need value stuff. So is the facilities designed in a way that allows both brands to coexist, let's say?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, you can for sure. I think I don't think we're like the industry's quite there yet in terms of what I would like to see. Um, I'm just trying to think of an example off the top of my head, but yeah, like for example, Toyota and Lexus, like the car manufacturers, they're
That
both
makes
the
sense
same
now.
company.
Yeah,
Toyota and Lexus is the exact same company, but Toyota is going to be your mids brand. It's not cheap, right? It's not Hyundai or Kia. Those
that's
are
right.
cheap value brands. Toyota is going to be your middle brand.
Reliable.
It's reliable. The brand itself and the company is more sustainable. The margin probably isn't as high. Well, it isn't. But you're catering to a larger, wider audience. And there's less, there's less pressure when, we have a shitty economy or there's tariffs or, supply chain issues or anything like that. And then you have Lexus, right? So Lexus is going to be the sister brand. It's under the same umbrella, but it's going to be your premium craft luxury customer. That customer is going to want a different experience when they walk in the door of that building.
That's right.
So they want to be greeted differently. They want a, nice Lexus water bottle. I used to work there, so.
Oh, you did, eh?
Yeah.
So it's a different, they're looking for a different experience altogether.
Totally different
Yeah.
experience because a lot of the product, like a lot of the Lexus vehicles use Toyota parts. Tons of Toyota parts. But the difference is you're going over and above for the customer in a bunch of different ways. Like, for example, in a Toyota, their leather is not real leather. It's
Rexon?
faux. Yeah, it's New Lux, I think, is the brand.
Okay.
So it's just made from plant material. It's not made from cows or anything like that. So
Okay.
obviously, someone who's vegan or vegetarian, that's a great product for you. I'm pretty sure Lexus also has a New Lux option, but typically you're going to be getting, so like in BMWs, you're getting, the suede and you're getting the nice real leather.
Alcantara. And all
Yeah,
that,
you got it. Yeah, stuff like that. So it's just, it's a different experience. That customer doesn't care as much about budgeting and money. They're spending their money on the experience of purchasing that product, not the product themselves always. So, you could buy a Lexus, like for example, you could buy like a base model, like just bare bones RX 350, like the SUV. And there's actually Toyotas that are way nicer and have more features. Why would somebody spend more money on a base model Lexus with less features? And you could spend less money on a Toyota and get more out of it.
I'll tell you why. It
Why?
gets you more chicks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's part of it.
So
Yeah.
Lexus is aspirational,
You got it. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I get your point. So that
Yeah.
does boil down similarly to cannabis industry as well,
Yeah.
where you can have different brands
Yeah.
under same roof.
Yeah.
And- okay.
Yeah. Like there's some retailers out there who've tried doing it, right? And still try to do it where it's just luxury, it's just craft. We only bring in craft products. Like it's awesome, man. I love it. Because I'm that customer. Like I don't just smoke the products I sell. I don't. I buy other stuff all the time. And I don't care about THC. But I hope to get a way better experience. Like I'd rather not go to like a big box store like a Walmart to buy a premium product. I'd rather spend a couple more dollars and have like a really, really good experience. Somebody who could also tell me their story about their products that they purchased and the experience that they had with it and stuff like that. Because that's what that customer wants at the end of the day. When I was in university, I took this course called Consumer Decision Making. It was the coolest course ever. Consumer decision making, right? So just like we were talking about good, better, best, there's also good, better, best in coffee.
I see.
So like this is premium coffee.
Yeah, Colosimo up.
It's really good coffee.
Yeah.
They're also local. They don't have a drive-through. There's zero drive-through. It took me 10 minutes to get this coffee. Tim Hortons, it takes like a
2
minute,
minutes
2
at
minutes.
max. Yeah,
And
2 or
if
3
it's
minutes.
more than that, you're probably pissed off. You're waiting in line. Why is my coffee taking so long? It's a different consumer for a different product,
Mm.
but the decision making they go through to buy a cup of coffee or to buy a joint or to buy a bottle of beer, everyone has different experiences and expectations when they're buying these products. So, so I did a project on it, and of course, like tied it to the car industry because I was working at Lexus at the time doing this, and testing products, which we can't do in cannabis.
I see. Yeah.
So testing products is so important, like ridiculously important for a number of different reasons. The consumer needs to make a wise decision when they're buying, let's call it mids to premium product,
Mm-hmm.
not Tim Hortons coffee, like Starbucks coffee. They need to be able to test it. Or like, you know, when you go to Costco and there's all these little samples everywhere and you get to try the product before making your decision. But some people don't care, right? Some people are like, no, I don't want to try that. That's too much money. I'm just going to get the same product that I always get every single time I come here. It's the same as like buying McDonald's coffee or Tim Hortons coffee. I don't want to try the premium Colosimo
Yeah.
coffee because I'm never going to buy it. I always get the same stuff. I just get the cheapest that I get, and that's it, and we're good to go. So it's very similar in cannabis, right? You have people who come in, they don't have much time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the terpenes, dude. I don't care about who grew it. I just want my
Grab and go.
I just want my grab and go pre-roll, and I'll be back tomorrow and spend the same amount of money. Okay, cool. That's probably the majority of your customers. But then you have a customer that comes in, they have some questions.
Spends time on the menu too.
They spend more time on the menu. They're looking at things. They have more money they want to spend, right? Like, okay, and I don't expect retailers to ask these questions, but again, when you coming from the car business, there was always a process in place when you're talking to customers when they walk into the dealership, because you want to figure this out so you don't waste their time. Buying a car, no matter what, is not quick. Some people want to be in and out as quick as possible.
In car too?
Yeah, like even for myself, I hate buying cars. I had to buy my girlfriend a car, or help her purchase a car. And I had no interest in being there. I hate going to car dealerships. And most people do, because you're haggling, you're test driving all these different cars, trying to pick a different color. They're, asking you all these questions that you don't really want to ask. You only have 20 minutes. It's already taking 30 minutes. So that customer, the most customers buying a car just want in and out.
Really?
Most of them.
That's interesting, because isn't it one of the biggest decisions that people will make, and it sticks with them for the next 5 years, 6 years?
Typically,
And in your experience, people are in and out?
They want to be. They want to be as quick as possible. Most of them.
Interesting.
Toyota customers are different.
They want most value.
They're very, very educated. They're more, So the point I'm trying to make is you have to know your customer. That's it, at the end of the day. So if your customer doesn't care, don't tell them anything. Just sell them what they want.
Yeah.
That's it. But if you have somebody who walks in and they start asking you questions about where this was grown, is this organic? What's the genetics out of this one? Or I want something good, right? And somebody walks into your store and they say, I want something good. Show them the most expensive product you have.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you?
You need to understand what customer wants and what he values at best.
Yeah.
So if he values craft cannabis, let's say, for example, he likes look at the nugs and all that. And with this window coming out,
it's awesome.
It's helping us a lot, I'd say. My thing is, 10 out of 8 customers don't care.
Yeah.
10 out of 2 does. And those 2 customers, it's best if you serve them best, because they'll bring in more revenue.
You got it.
Right?
Yeah.
In the long run. And where these cannabis retail stores are lacking, in my opinion, again, is the associate doesn't care.
No,
right?
they don't
He's
care.
there for his hourly rate, and
totally.
he'll give you what you want and wants to get you out of there as soon as you can, so that he can get back to his phone. And and as we were discussing earlier, that eventually what will happen over the next 2-3 years in this industry is oversaturation, which we are already facing.
Yeah.
And I do think you can help us in a way. I'll tell you how.
Okay.
So if we figured out, okay, the 2 customers are checking the product, going into details, wants to know the genetics. Now me as a, let's say, cannabis enthusiast will know all those things, but my associate won't.
Yeah.
So we can help the associate in a way that mentions the genetics, and let's say staycation.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And mentions the terps, which it does already.
Yeah.
So, and whereas the value brand, that's okay. If it doesn't say on the value brand, totally fine.
Yeah.
But if we can spend some extra bucks, get the terps.
You got it.
You know?
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, what you're trying to say and what retailers are lacking is how to sell. They don't know how to sell at all. It's mind blowing. And it's very obvious which retailers have problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the ones who can't sell expensive products, obviously. They're the ones selling the cheapest products that the supplier has, and it is what it is, and it's fine. But then you try to do something with that retailer, if it's a promotional activity or whatever, a pop-up, as you'd call, which you still can't even sample anything. So you can't even show them the product except for it in the bag with a window on it. So it's very tricky. And then I get where you're going with this, and I totally agree with you, especially because of the lack of knowledge and how to sell products. Like when I came into this industry, I thought I could bring a lot to the table because I understand sales.
And you do already.
Sales processes and people and what makes people tick. Like when someone walks in, to your establishment, being able to differentiate your business compared to anything else. Well, how do you do that? Customer service, better selection, better pricing, better marketing, maybe some social responsibility stuff like you guys donate or whatever.
Do you think people click with that?
Yes, maybe not so much in cannabis because there's zero marketing. But yeah, there's totally, there's definitely benefits to it outside of just being responsible socially. If you had the two products, the exact same price point, THC, I guess, whatever, they're very, very much similar products, but one donates towards a charity.
Yeah.
That one will, the consumer will most likely purchase that product over the one that doesn't donate to a charity. The problem in cannabis is we can't market that. We can't promote it anywhere.
Anywhere, okay.
Anywhere, except, I guess you call it guerrilla marketing with, social media, which, gets banned all the time or taken down. And then you're relying on the retailer at the end of the day to be able to deliver that message to the guest. Like, hey, by the way, this brand donates X towards whatever. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, I'll buy that one. But retailers really aren't doing it. They're not pushing that agenda and that message to the customer. Because to your point, they're just sitting there on their phones all day. Like, you walk into the majority of cannabis stores, like, they're not busy. Most people are just sitting around on their phones. And to be honest with you, if you ask most people in these stores, like how they enjoy their job, they're on Indeed looking for a new job. So as someone who supplies craft cannabis, and I'm trying to explain to you how to sell it, they don't care because they're not interested at all. They're not interested. A great example is when I was selling cars in my early 20s. I don't care about cars. Like, cool, like they have fancy wheels on them and whatever.
Turbocharged, whatever.
Sure, like I'm not a car person, but you're telling me that if I sell the more expensive one, I get paid more. I'm gonna try to sell that one all day. But nobody gets paid commission in this industry. Besides, you get incentivized because you're the business owner. You want to sell. You want revenue to be higher because you make more money.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, the bottom line gets bigger.
The bottom line gets bigger. Yeah. So from what we've heard and understand in Canada, and Manitoba and Saskatchewan is the worst for it, is transactional sales haven't really changed in the last year, but overall basket sizes, so like revenue, is down. Which means people are just spending less money on cannabis. That's it. And when they spend less money on cannabis and there's already an oversaturation, more and more people just lose their jobs. More businesses will go out of business. So to your point, and like we did it as a company, we diversified. You have to. If you don't diversify, you'll just die.
That's right.
So you have to diversify your product offerings. because how else are you going to make more revenue? You know?
Yeah. If you rely on one source or
Yeah.
let's say one brand,
Yeah, you got
and
it.
that's a value brand.
Yeah, which is the lowest margin.
That's right. Yeah,
like-
one storm and you're done.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So
So diversification is great, but it's tricky in this industry. So, you know, like for example, I think rosin is awesome as a product. It doesn't sell anywhere, but I think it's an amazing product. And to your point about subtleness, like again, I'm a dad. I have a younger one at home and stuff like that, and I usually consume when she's sleeping. But a nice dab of rosin, there's barely any smell. It's healthier for you. Like there's so many more reasons to smoke rosin than to smoke distillate or a vape cart or anything like that.
is there any residue with
Not really.
rose? No, not really.
Not really. Depending on how you smoke it, like if you're smoking it like a rig or something like that, it's very, very clean. There's barely any mess, and it just tastes great. It's way better effects, like medicinally. You're not consuming any the plant material that's unhealthy, like any of the carcinogenics or anything like that. So it's just way better for you.
And it's full profile too, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
That makes sense.
Like,
And-
yeah.
And the
Yeah.
live in the rosin means that the plant was frozen when it was live, or
Kind of.
Kind of?
That's yeah. Rosin is just solventless. So they don't use any solvents to make rosin.
whereas resin.
Resin they use solvents to make.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
that's pretty much the difference between the two.
Coming back to biomass, how we discussed it earlier. So biomass is anything that can be used to make or convert into something else or
Yeah.
the waste product.
Yeah.
That must play a big role in micro processing. I don't know. Explain me more about it. So, do you, as a guy who's deep into this industry, how big a role biomass plays in getting
In-
a bigger bottom
yeah.
line? Let's say.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so for me, we don't deal with biomass
Because you're a processor more than.
because we grow as well.
I see.
So we don't deal with biomass at all, to be fully transparent with you. Now to be honest, I don't really think it's a big opportunity for microprocessing or microprocessors
Okay.
or whatever micro producers, because there's just not a lot, to be honest.
Mm.
And as a bigger company or like a company that makes extracts, they rely on biomass. So we don't rely on biomass at all as the company I work for.
Okay.
Because we grow and we just source flour, so we don't have to deal with any biomass. We actually don't have any.
So extraction, anyone who's into extracts or 2.0 license 2.0,
Yeah.
they're much more heavily into biomass
Yeah.
and those numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So explain me this, Tommy, if you can, to your best of your ability, that let's say if I decide today to open a microprocessing facility, let's
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
where I'm packing the product and selling it to the retail in Manitoba alone. And given that we know it's oversaturated, the supply is
Yeah.
much more than demand.
Yeah.
How wise my decision would be.
How do I answer that? So you want to start a microprocessor in Manitoba, and you want to compete with me.
No, it's just a, let's say, just
I'm
a
just
thought.
joking.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. Yeah. Is it a good idea? I mean, I guess I could think of it in I could think in your shoes, I guess. So like if I was in your position, and I wanted to start a retail store,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a good idea right now, unless you have a big differentiator, like a reason for a customer to come to your store that's not price related. I don't see it being a good decision right now, and to be honest with you, one of the reasons why the company I work for does so well is because we are local and we have a good reputation, and most people are aware of us in this province. So, like for example, if someone buys one of our cheaper products that we don't grow, they could still associate it with the weed guys in Manitoba, the guys who grow good weed.
So if no, that makes sense.
Yeah. So if you wanted to start your own micro or processing or co-packing or anything like that, um, it's just like any industry. Like, sure, it could be successful if you have a good differentiator. That's not just price point.
And let me be very clear, I have no plans. I'm just
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
no,
understand
totally,
the
man.
industry better. That's
Yeah,
it. So
yeah. I mean, it's yeah. I can't just say yes or no to a question like that. I think it's
it's
more of
tricky,
like, yeah, like what is your idea? What's your business plan? Like, what's your differentiator?
No, and you said a very good point there. You said, what are you doing different?
Yeah, that's
Right.
Yeah,
If I'm opening another retail store, what am I doing different? And
Yeah.
except price. But here's the thing: there's nothing proprietary about retail, right?
yeah,
I'm selling the same thing the guy is selling down the street.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it boils down to price or
Yeah.
customer service or how good you can treat your customers.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, price is obviously very important. Yeah, it's like one of the most important things. And location, obviously, like great parking. They just parked right in front. That's awesome. There's some stores I try to visit and can't find parking. Okay, I'm not shopping here.
Yeah.
So like parking is obviously very important, and price and product offerings and customer service. Like that's all great. And to your point, everyone carries the same products in Manitoba. Every store you go to has the exact same
Same
products.
thing. Yeah. Same menu.
Yeah, same
very much.
menu, pretty much, all that kind of stuff. So it's very tricky because, like I love shawarma. Like
You do,
I
eh?
love shawarma so much. I eat too much of it,
Okay.
but I love a lot of these little shops marketing on Instagram. Like I don't know if you see any like the smaller like shawarma shops, but like
I've
their
seen some
marketing is
videos.
so
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And it just makes me want to go there and eat. But you can't do that in cannabis. Like, you can't. Like,
Do you think that'll change ever?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I think so for sure. Totally. I think there'll be consumption lounges at some point. Hopefully, before I'm like 50,
Yeah.
because
That'll add a lot more to the business, I'd say. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it does for sure. I
But
went to Amsterdam in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the coolest experience ever, man.
And back then they had consumption lounges
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah, yeah. It was so cool. Yeah, because for like many different reasons, like the sampling aspect of things, the customer service,
Everything
aspect of
changes.
things,
Yeah.
everything. You could rent volcanoes in these consumption lounges. They could roll joints for you. Like for example, someone walks into an establishment. Hey, I want to buy a gram of the best weed you have. All right, well it's more expensive, but it'll work really well. And here's some of the effects, and here's some of the flavor profiles of it. And that customer gets to try it in the same building.
Yeah.
You're probably going to go ask them how it was. How was your experience? Did you like it? Did my recommendation work for you?
And I think that's the real definition of bud tender.
Yeah,
To be honest with you,
totally
what we
yeah.
do here is just a retail association or a
Yeah.
retail associate.
Yeah.
Bud tender is supposed to be somewhat similar to bartender, where you,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
they're checking on you, how
Yeah.
do you like it, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Tell me one thing, Tommy, and I think that'll be a good way to end this is, what is one thing you'd like to change in this industry if you get the chance? A regulation, a free market thing? What would be one change that would help every business?
Every business.
Every
Okay.
business in the sense
Every
related
business.
to retailers,
Yeah.
wholesalers,
Okay.
distributors.
Yeah, I would say taxation number one for sure. Taxation for both
Mhm.
retail, for everybody. At the end of the day, everyone, including the consumer, because taxation is the absolute worst. And yeah, like I can't go into like a lot of detail about like numbers with taxation, but it is a massive, massive chunk of our operating profits. Huge. And we're good. Like we're healthy, but there's lots of businesses out there, suppliers, retailers, all that stuff, who maybe aren't the best with taxes and their finances, and it will kill their business if they don't pay attention to it. We've seen it with some brands who don't exist anymore. Like, Ogen was a great one, and Tantalus, like, and maybe there were some other reasonings behind why their businesses failed, but in an oversaturated market that's highly government regulated, they should at least give this industry some slack on the taxes.
Some room to breathe, eh? Yeah.
Because it's like the taxes is fine. Like collect taxes on this product, just like they do with alcohol and nicotine and stuff. But I don't think the alcohol and tobacco companies are hurting that well. Like they're not hurting as much as cannabis companies are. So I would say that overall is taxation for a supplier. Universal stamps.
Universal stamps?
Yes.
What do you mean?
So in every province, you have provincial stamps.
Oh, okay.
So like, for example, and we hear it quite a bit where, you know, there'll be people from another province go and visit Manitoba. They go to a store and they say like, hey, what do you guys have for locally grown products? And they'll, you know, offer one of our products or another local, local growers products.
Yeah.
And they'll buy it and they'll say like, that was amazing, but I don't get to try this back home. I can't buy this back home. So how do they buy it? And as a business, when we talk about saturation and diversification, we can't diversify to other markets that easy. Like, for example, in BC, there's tons of craft retailers.
Okay.
We can't just call them and be like, hey, do you guys want to buy some of our products?
Buy some of our staycation.
Yeah, like you can't do that unless you get approved through their board. Then you have to get, BC stamped products. And if they don't sell, what do you do? And so there's lots of issues with the stamps. And even for ourselves, like we do a little bit of business in other provinces, and it'd be so nice just to be like,
universal stamps.
Universal stamps. Yeah. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it was lovely to have you at our podcast, and I hope this brand of yours become global or national at one point.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Loved it.
Okay, wicked. Well, thanks for having me on.